Cranium, Mysterious Remain Death, Part 5. You're listening to Girls Love World, wishing you a wonderful listening experience. Chapter 21. Chapter 21. Bua, please come in. From inside the small meeting room, the voice of the advisor Ajarn Nisara called her student. Nisara was talking to someone Bua recognized immediately. Along with them, a young woman was sitting next to him. Phinya was on the right side, next to the chair of the institute director, and next to Phinya was Aeon. Known Bua. A man who appeared to be about 39 years old stood up. Long time no see. How are you? Phi Fawn. Buasaya exclaimed happily. Sawadee ka. She said, clasping her hands in a gesture of respectful greeting. Playcorn, or Fawn as he was known, had been a PhD student of Ajarn Nisara almost 10 years ago. When Bua started her studies, he graduated the same year. After that, he took a teaching position at a state university in the south of the country. Bua had met him several times during his final year of studies, while he was still involved in a research project for Nisara. He had finished it about a month before taking up his position as a professor in the Department of Social Anthropology. That day, Fawn had brought his co-workers and students to visit the institute. Bua heard her advisor mention that Dr. Fawn's colleague, Dr. Kulnita, wanted to do postdoctoral research there, which was promptly approved by the institute's director. Fawn then took the opportunity to introduce Dr. Kulnita, Cream as they called her, whom he had mentioned. If Dr. Cream and I could visit the lab, would that be convenient for you, Ajarn? Fawn asked, referring to the short-haired woman who was sitting next to him. She was dressed in a formal, dark suit, and seemed to be around Bua's age. Dr. Kulnita was a professor in the same department as Fawn. I'll ask Bua to take you. In a few minutes, everyone went down to the lab. When I graduated, this place wasn't fully set up like this yet. Fawn said, looking around the lab room. Today, in addition to being very well structured, the institute has gained young, energetic talents like Phinya and Bua to help out. His look expressed satisfaction with his words. If Phi Fawn wants to come back, I think Ajarn would be happy to welcome him. Bua commented. We still need a lot of people here. Let me stay at my post in the south, it's better this way. Fawn laughed. To be honest, I've never been that good at lab work. Neither have I. Phinya herself commented, smiling. That's more up to Bua or Fong. Phinya is from the field area. Fong commented, already aware. Ajarn told me a long time ago that they needed someone strong on the team, and they ended up choosing you. He laughed. If Dr. Cream wants to work in the lab, I'll entrust her with that mission. For now, it's just Phinya and I who are taking care of everything. Bua replied. Fong hasn't graduated yet. If anyone wants to come to the bioanthropology area, they'll have to wait for Fong to finish or come train with her first, but she's not fully available yet. Cream hasn't decided which area to pursue yet. Fawn continued, turning to her coworker who was with them. But it seems that she's leaning towards the physics area, isn't she, Doctor? I'm not sure yet. The woman replied in a calm tone, looking alternately at Phinya and Bua. I want to try several things before making a decision. Anyway, I'm counting on you too. Count on us for what? Bua said. We're all from the same generation, both Phinya and I just graduated. You can consider me the youngest in the lab, then. The visitor replied with a smile. If I stay, I'll be the first postdoctoral student here. The head of the lab intervened. But for the history area, you should talk to someone else. She said, nodding to the other doctor. That's beyond our skills. She added. Bua looked at Phinya, who narrowed her eyes back, as if she wanted to strangle her for passing on the work. You're throwing everything at me again, bye Bua. Just wait. Phinya's look said it all. Who threw it? I didn't throw anything. Bua thought. Dr. Cream is quite nice, don't you think? Bua commented absently. Phinya answered without much attention, nodding her head disinterestedly as she continued to stare at the paper in front of her. So what? Do you like her, perhaps? This question made Phinya, who was reading a research paper, raise her head and look at her. Why would I have to like her? I'm just asking out of curiosity. Bua justified. She seems more inclined towards the history area. And archaeology too, like you. I thought you two could get along. I already like someone. Phinya replied irritably, cutting off the conversation, already foreseeing what Bua was trying to insinuate. Ah. Bua replied in a low voice. Then, it's better if I don't interfere. She said, before turning around and trying to leave the room. However, she was pulled back and sat on Finya's lap. Don't you want to know who it is? No. Why? If you want to tell me, tell me. But if you don't, I won't force it. Phinya pressed her lips gently against Bua's neck. I know what you're thinking. Don't come with that idea of encouraging me to flirt with every woman who enters the institute. And also, don't give me anyone's business cards anymore. I was just about to give you her card. Bua said, feigning regret. Oh, what a shame. Bye Bua. Just in case you're interested. Bua continued. I found her very cute, polite, and she speaks so well. I've met people much more charming than her. Phinya replied. But I'll tell you right now, I'm not interested. Okay, I'm sorry for meddling in your affairs. You can meddle all you want, I don't care. Phinya said, resting her chin on Bua's shoulder. But if you're going to try to push me into 5 or 10 more people, I'll tell you now, I'm not interested. You don't have to try. Her tone was firm. Okay. I'll remember that. Bua said, moving slightly away from Finya's face, who was getting closer. I'm not interested in anyone else because you're already enough of a problem. I didn't say anything like that. Bua replied immediately. I understand that protecting your territory and what's yours is part of your instinct. I'm not a dog. I wasn't talking about a dog. She retorted. It's the instinct of most mammals. She continued, looking smug. As soon as the levels of certain chemicals in the brain stabilize, possessive behavior disappears. The body gets used to it and boredom starts to set in, so you look for something new to stimulate the release of these chemicals. Do you think I get bored easily? Phinya nuzzled Bua's shoulder. Who knows? Bua dodged. You said yourself that you've met a lot of people, but so far you haven't been with anyone. I can only assume that you get tired quickly. You're making things up. For you, I'm always the villain. Phinya spoke against Bua's neck. Because you're the villain, Finn. I know you better than anyone. And why don't you ever think that maybe I'm just not interested in anyone? Oh, don't come with that. I remember very well that, in college, you were super popular. That made Phinya laugh. Dr. Finn has always been irresistible. It might have something to do with my body structure and morphology, as you like to say. Phinya commented, with a hand sliding around Bua's waist. After all, you yourself said I'm attractive. Who said that? Bua retorted, hiding her blushing face in Finya's shoulder. You must be getting confused. If I'm getting confused, then so be it. Phinya laughed. At that moment, they heard a knock on the door, which made Bua get up quickly, and Phinya straightened her wrinkled clothes, trying to look presentable. Come in. It's Fong who entered the door first, glancing at Bua, who was looking out the window, avoiding eye contact. What's up, Fong? I came to talk about what we discussed the other day. Their doctoral colleague said, sitting down on a chair. I want to go to the lab in Germany. You just got back, do you want to go again already? Bua interrupted. Before I went to Holland, I already wanted to go to Germany. Fong explained. But the professor couldn't find a place for me. You should get some rest. Why is it that only the two of you travel and I can never go? Bua complained with a hint of irritation. Now, if you want to go, just ask Finn to send you. The doctor suggested, nodding her head in the direction of Phinya, who was sitting silently. Staying here is fine. Where else would you? Phinya replied. There won't be time for you to turn your body 180 degrees parallel to the ground. Then I don't want to go anymore. Bua replied immediately, quickly rejecting the idea. What do you mean, you gave up so easily? Fong looked at Bua. Just because you won't be able to sleep there, right? That's good. Bua's friend commented. But why is your face red? Didn't you sleep well? These words made Bua raise her hand to cover her face, while she glared at Phinya, who just smiled discreetly, keeping her expression serious. So, are you really going? The bioanthropology department here is short-staffed. The professor has already planned to open more courses in the next 1 or 2 years. Who's going to teach? Me and this lazy girl here can't handle it. I gave the cell biology back to the professor the moment I got out of my master's exam. You just want to travel and play. How are you going to finish your doctorate like that, friend? Bua added. That's right. Phinya agreed. If your research paper is published, you could take the final exam right now. I'm still undecided. If I go, I might end up extending it another year. Are you going to study for 7 years? Or 8, I'll prepare incense and candles to venerate you as the obsessive spirit that guards the institute. The lab head joked. That way, you won't even have to get married anymore. I don't even plan on getting married, said the other. When I finish, I'll start planning on having a child. Having a child, with who? It was Phinya who interrupted. With my boyfriend, of course. Boyfriend? Since when do you have one? I'm not like you two. She answered quickly, making her friends exchange glances. You work too much. Be careful, they say that those who fight too much end up together. Who said that? The two spoke almost at the same time. Seriously, be careful, you two, okay? I don't want to carry any more karma in my life. Bua answered, looking around, adjusting her glasses nervously. Don't involve me in this. You talk as if you know what we're going through, Fong. Phinya answered sarcastically, pursing her lips slightly. Do you think you're that smart? By the way, Bua, speaking of which, what about that guy who was flirting with you? Did he disappear? Who? This time it's Phinya who asked, casting a sideways glance at her friend, who seemed to be trying to hide next to the file shelf. No one. Bua answered, her voice raised, shaking her head quickly. Who would want someone who only sleeps, like me? She said, picking up the documents she had left on the vice principal's desk. I'm going to get some coffee, I'm sleepy. Fong watched as Phinya kept her gaze fixed on Bua until she left the room. Has anyone actually tried to flirt with her, the way she is? The vice principal's firm voice asked, trying to keep a neutral expression. She said that before I went to Holland. Fong replied. But nothing came of it. They only went out for dinner once. She doesn't care about anyone, she just wants to sleep. Anyone who disturbs her sleep, she cuts them off. To flirt with that one, the person must be sleepwalking. Who would risk that? Why do you want to know? You don't even like her? Fong asked, curious. It's just that natural curiosity of the human species. Phinya replied, repeating the excuse Bua used to use with her, while shifting uncomfortably in her chair, which made Fong narrow her eyes in suspicion. I keep that to tease. You never stop teasing her, do you, Finn? I can't help it. Sometimes, your friend is annoying. Phinya replied, relaxed. So, who was it? He was a professor in the sociology department, I think. They met at an academic seminar, it must have been last year. Fong said. Phinya nodded, pretending to look at the papers on the table, as if it were a trivial conversation, without giving it much importance. It seems he invited her to do research with him, but at the time she was rushing to finish her doctorate, so she must not have kept in touch. Besides, if she had any free time, she would spend it sleeping. Who could stand that? Sometimes it takes her days to respond to my messages. True, Phinya agreed, nodding. Luckily, she's very good at what she does. If she weren't, I wonder if she would finish in 10 years. Honestly, I don't know how she finds time to do research or write papers. I lose sleep myself, working all day, and I still can't keep up. But her? You sent her a message and she's asleep, but she can finish her PhD in 5 years. I think that's why her professors never send her abroad. She wouldn't be able to manage, it's too dangerous. Yes, I think I understand. Phinya agreed. Of course she knew how much Bua slept, after all, sometimes Bua slept next to her in bed. So, what do you think of Germany? Phinya asked next. What do you think I should do? Fong returned the question. Stay and help the teachers here. The vice principal suggested again. Things haven't been so good lately, and I might need your opinion. Publish it soon, defend your thesis and finish it so I can start planning to have children. I could study and get pregnant at the same time, raise the baby while it's still in my belly. Fong joked to herself. And you? She returned the question to Phinya. Me, what about me? Haven't you ever thought about having a family? No. Phinya replied, refusing the idea. My way of being doesn't suit being a mother, even though they tell me that my body structure would be perfect for it. If I decide to go to Germany, could you find me something there? I don't know anyone there, but I can try to find out if you really want to go. Using Professor Nisara's name might make it a lot easier. Phinya offered. But I can't promise anything. You're actually nice. Fong commented. I've been nice for a while, but you always have this wrong impression that I'm mean. The assistant retorted. But if you change your mind and go to England, it'll be fine. The professor is desperate for someone, since I refused. Phinya said before taking a sip from the paper cup of black coffee that was next to her. By the way, I wanted to ask. Why didn't you stay there, Phin? Fong asked curiously. I thought that by going back, I would have more things to do, you know? And also, I didn't want to bother the professor. Phinya replied, still hesitating. And it was the right decision, for sure. That's why I came back. Phinya said, showing a soft smile on her lips. But it was good to come back, the professor appointed me vice principal right away. I think it suits you. Commented Fong, who had also studied with her. When are we going to celebrate the promotion? After we finish the plane crash case, we will definitely celebrate. The doctor replied. Great, I'm looking forward to it. Fong agreed as she stood up. I'm going now. If I decide anything, I'll come back to consult with you. Thank you very much, friend. Sure, anytime. I'm available. Chapter 22. Chapter 22. The image of the troubled mummified skull loomed large on the 65-inch television screen to the left of the Physical Anthropology lab room. On the screen to the right was the face of an unknown man, the owner of the skull, which had been reconstructed by a 2D modeling program. The lab manager sat, alternating between looking up and down, in front of the autopsy table, preparing to separate the bones of the plane crash victims. There were 7 other victims who had yet to be identified and analyzed. While some of the victims could not have all of their remains taken home, there was uncertainty about the completeness of the remaining pieces. When assessing the situation, the number of bones available seemed insufficient, due to the damage caused by the explosion and the fall, which resulted in many of them being severely compromised. However, when it came to her role as an identification expert, Dr. Buasaya could say that she had done the best she could. Bua stared at the pile of bones on the table, alternating her gaze between them and the image on the television. She had barely been able to concentrate on her work these past few days. The story of the mysterious skull had been spinning in her mind incessantly, making her feel the need to display it on the screen, in the hope that something might be revealed. Phinya didn't seem bothered, but Bua knew that she was probably thinking of ways to get more information, besides waiting for the help of the police. She didn't want to think about the worst-case scenario. What if someone had intentionally done this, and the origin of the body was unknown? Since there was only one piece, there was no answer to that. But what if the body of this unknown man had been stolen from somewhere? Or, in the worst-case scenario, if it had been brought in an unnatural way, considering the state of the lower jaw, which had a significant deformity? Normally, fracture or deformation of the jaw does not occur easily. Without an impact or blow of considerable force, a fracture or dislocation would be unlikely to occur, as it is quite resistant. When she used the facial modeling program to calculate and create the image of the face, she noticed that there was a deviation towards the right, originating from the fracture on the left side, with about a centimeter of deviation in the lower jaw. This could indeed have occurred during transportation, but it was also possible that the person had been assaulted before death. Buasaya let out a deep sigh at the thought. Whatever the purpose for which this mummified skull had been created, it seemed clear that it had been obtained illegally in some way. This could be a reflection of her teacher's words, who used to say, "Even the peace of those who depart is stolen." What kind of species are we? Have we evolved more than others to do this to each other? It was truly regrettable. The head of the laboratory tried to concentrate again, preparing to work on identifying the victims of the plane crash. She reached out and picked up a pelvic bone, which she had not yet been able to find. Before starting to measure, Bua positioned the bone. By carefully observing the subpubic angle on both the left and right sides, which were greater than 90 degrees, she was able to conclude that it was a female body. On the fateful flight, there were 3 passengers identified as women. One of them had already been recognized at the scene. The accident, as her body was not badly damaged, and her face was still usable for identity confirmation. There were only 2 left, and they remained unidentified. The problem was that the pelvic bone found appeared to be that of a woman, but there was only one piece recovered from the crash site. This meant that there would be a young woman who would return home without all her fragments, a reality that Bua did not like at all. However, she also understood that this was the kind of work that forensic anthropology does. Sometimes the truth that is revealed through work can be heartbreaking. After measuring the angle and dimensions, and taking photos of the pelvic bone, Bua moved on to the arm bone. Its size seemed large and robust, and from visual assessment, she thought it belonged to a man of quite a tall build. Why that mummified skull was on that plane still remained as the biggest of her questions, perhaps as big as the question of why that charter flight to Paris had ended in tragedy. The next question was, why was only the skull on board the plane, and where were the other parts? Phinya had already said that in many cases, if there was a sale, the entire body would have a much higher market value. The price could go up 10 to 20 times if the entire piece was sold. Furthermore, no one who sold it would be interested in separating the parts, as the value would drop drastically. But who would be crazy enough to transport an entire body on an international plane to sell? The more she thought about it, the more questions popped into her mind. After a few moments, the owner of the thought Bua had just remembered came through the door with a tense expression, holding some documents. Phinya didn't even look up at the hallway, concentrating on reading the contents of the paper in her hands. "What brought you here, boss?" Bua asked. "Have the police sent any news?" Phinya asked, still not looking. "There's nothing new," Bua replied. "But anyway, they probably can't say much since they're still in the process of investigating. As for the face of the unknown man we sent, we don't have anything concrete yet. Besides, I already had to send the mummified skull to the police. It's now evidence in the missing person case. Do you need anything to check? If not, I can ask the professor to hold it until we can send it back along with the last body found. You've already done the reconstruction, but you can keep it in case you need to check anything. Phinya said in a neutral voice. I'm still puzzled by the ribs that have impact marks. What happened on the plane before it crashed? Bua asked. Have you found similar marks on other bones? I haven't seen anything yet. I'm starting to wonder about our mummified skull too. It's here, but where are the other parts? Phinya commented. That's right. Bua agreed. This morning I tried to find more information about the passengers on the internet. I found some interesting people, she said. Then she handed the documents to Bua, who read them excitedly for about 3 or 4 minutes. Wow, there are both businessmen and antique dealers here, Bua observed. I'm seeing if a friend can see if there was any exhibition or event in Paris the week of the accident. Phinya replied. Do you know what I think when I see these names and profession along with the evidence we found? Phinya asked. Bua just shook her head in response. The black market. Phinya continued, leaning against a shelf of tools behind her. When I was there, the first person to contact you was always a middleman. These people catch up on news faster than anyone else and contact you behind your back to make deals. Sometimes, they even end up getting to know the workers there. If they stay in the same place for months, they end up seeing these faces every month. Bua listened carefully before looking at Phinya. Maybe what disappeared from the workplace wasn't a robbery. If any worker disappeared along with the items, it's this guy. If the remains that are being bought and sold are still breathing, that's no different than human trafficking, Bua commented. But the world is funny. When you die, the price is higher than when you're alive. People's lives have reached a point where they seem to have no value at all. Bua let out a heavy sigh. Not even the dead are spared. That reconstruction was done, wasn't it? Phinya gestured to the skull, which she had asked Bua to make the reconstruction of, and the misshapen jaw was adjusted. What did they use to make it? She asked, noticing that the replica was cleaner and wider than the original. Latex molding rubber, Bua replied, as Phinya nodded. And why is it on a stand? I put it up there in case anyone feels inspired to shape their face, Bua replied. Haha. Phinya laughed, her eyes shining. I want to see it. Just in case, Dr. Phinya. We don't have time now. Bua replied. Don't get so excited, you've seen so much that you must be tired. Who said? Phinya defended herself. Making a 3D face from a skull is not something easy to find, because they use holograms now. Skill and patience make them have different values. I studied a little, but I'm not an expert. In practice, I've only done it once. Bua commented modestly. And I haven't done it for a long time. Let's see. Phinya replied. Hey. I heard that in ancient Europe they used to eat mummy remains as medicine. Is it true? Bua started a conversation, while continuing to work in front of her. It's true. But I've never seen anyone actually eating it. I've only seen pictures of recipes on preserved walls in museums. And nowadays, does it still exist? No, because it's rare. If there were available for sale like before, I don't think there would be any left. Humans are a strange species. Bua commented nonchalantly. They even eat the remains of the dead. Look at the Homo lineage, you'll see. Phinya said, as she stood next to Bua and began to put on gloves. Where has our species come from and where will it end up? The human species? Where will it end? It won't end, not while we continue to be so greedy. Evolution follows greed. Millions of years ago, we could only grab branches with both hands, our thumbs weren't flexible. Look at us now, doing math, precise calculations. Bua said, continuing. We started as animals, primates, we weren't far behind single-celled beings. In the beginning, we walked on all fours, supporting only our knuckles on the ground, spine parallel to the ground. Then, we adapted and became bipeds, walking upright, running fast, with three-dimensional vision. The brain and nervous system have evolved so much that somehow, our species will not disappear so easily. Even if an extinction happens, another even more advanced one will soon emerge. In fact, I think that ambition is what drives and makes the species constantly evolve and adapt. As you said, the brain has developed and become more intelligent, but also more exploratory. Said Bua. Like I said, right? Phinya laughed, unable to deny it. Actually, that's why I understood the teacher and decided to come back. Finya's words made Bua look at her carefully behind her square-framed glasses. If she knew, she would be very happy, Bua said, smiling. Knowledge can be acquired, but it's rare to find people who value experience more than academic recognition or money. These days, that's pretty hard to find. Then she turned to Bua. Actually, there are other reasons too. Thank you for coming back, Phinya, Bua suddenly said, smiling. I'm glad to be back. The sound of the door opening caused the two women to refocus on the work in front of them. It's Fong, who walked through the door with a folder of documents in her hand. Phinya, she called. I saw you are here. The professor is not here, I need your signature. She handed the documents to Phinya, who had already taken off the glove on her right hand and accepted the papers. Are you going to apply for a loan or something? Bua commented. With Finya's signature, you can even get a guarantor for the loan. That's funny, by Bua. Fong immediately replied. What about the Germany trip? Or do you want to go somewhere else? I can take a look. Phinya asked Fong as she examined the documents, and soon remembered that she didn't bring a pen. So, she raised her hand and touched Bua's shoulder, making her turn around. Can I borrow a pen? Phinya asked, waving at the pen that was attached to the pocket of Bua's white lab coat. I'm wearing gloves, it'll get dirty. Bua said, as the pen owner walked away. Phinya approached and took the pen from the back pocket of her lab coat, making Fong raise her eyebrows at the familiarity between the two friends. Next time, bring your own. Bua joked. It's just a loan, no need to be jealous. Phinya said, looking around before finding a suitable place to sign the documents. Fong watched the two curiously. I'm not going anymore. My boyfriend wouldn't let me. She answered the previous question. So I'm thinking about choosing between Germany or my boyfriend. Fong said this in an almost provocative way, but her expression wasn't funny. Then choose Germany and find a new boyfriend there. Bua suggested. Good idea, Bua. What useful advice. That'll make the two of them fight. Phinya commented, distracted. Fong isn't like you. Bua retorted. Who's been to a lot of places and hasn't managed to win anyone over. Really? You haven't managed to win anyone over? Think carefully before you speak. At least I haven't met anyone. I'd rather stay and be like you guys. Fong said, listening to the conversation between the two friends. What does it mean to be like us? Bua asked, as she accepted back the pen Phinya had taken and put it in the back pocket of her white coat. Beautiful and single. Don't include me in this, no. Bua answered quickly before she turned around, almost breaking her neck to look, while giving a warning look. If you let this one go, I think you'll lose the chance to have children, Fong. You're already getting old. Phinya, who spoke with the best of intentions, tried to correct. I mean, if you plan on having children. Having children is good, but in this day and age not having children is also good. Bua said, shrugging. If you don't want to have children, it's no problem. Fong said. I already told you not to include me in this. Bua repeated the same sentence. And why are you talking like that? Phinya may simply not have anyone interested in her. Really? Phinya replied defiantly. Do you really think so, Bua? Bua's teasing and Finya's response made Fong look at them, intrigued by the dynamic between the two. I'm just saying what I see. Bang. Hey, wait a minute. Bua screamed as Phinya hit her in the shoulder before she could dodge. In response, she used the tip of her foot, a round-toed shoe, to lightly kick Phinya in the shin. Bua. You started it. Then, Bua picked up the rubber mallet that's next to the stretcher and pointed it at Phinya, who was standing with her hands on her hips, pointing back at her. Hey. Back off. Fong, who had always been the mediator since college, quickly intervened. Bua, back off. But that idiot started it first. Bua argued, turning to face her rival. You provoked it first, Bua. You fight all the time. Be careful, soon you'll end up together. Fong's calm voice commented, before noticing that her friends were looking at each other with hatred. Be careful, doctors. What? Who's going to end up with who? I told you not to include me. Bua shouted, as Fong walked away from the laboratory. Shut up, Bua. Fong heard Finya's voice echo as she left the room. Chapter 23. Dr. Phinya stopped in front of the laboratory head's office at the Institute of Biological Anthropological Research before knocking on the door a few times, but she got no answer. When she realized this, she decided to open the door and go in. She found the owner of the office fast asleep in her chair, her face resting on a pillow on top of the laptop table. Her square glasses were next to her, and she was still wearing her long white lab coat. Phinya smiled before closing the door. Then she walked over and crouched down in front of Bua, who was sleeping peacefully. And she was very tired. It was already close to the end of the day, and she had just finished a class for the students about 15 minutes ago, after a long day of work dedicated to identification. One of Finya's hands rested on Bua's shoulder. Sleepyhead, she said in her deep voice, calling. The shift is over. But she received no sign of an answer. Bualoi. The sleepy voice was heard, turning her face to the opposite side while still resting her head on the table. I just need a minute to rest my eyes. Go back to sleep in your room. You can go first, I'll meet you there. Then she reached into her pants pocket and handed her class card to Phinya, who accepted it and left it on the table next to the notebook. You can go first. Hey, how do you hand over your class card like that, Bualoi? And then it's silent again. Bua. This time, her tone of voice sounded firmer. Go back to your room, eat something, and then sleep. After agreeing, she sat down and kept her eyes still closed, looking sleepy. Go ahead. I already ordered food through the app. Tonight, I want to sleep. Bua said, looking up and looking at Phinya, who was standing with a pleading look. And tomorrow, I want to come with you. I'm not ordering you to do anything. Hearing this, Bua quickly stood up and began to undo the buttons of the lab coat, which she was wearing awkwardly. Come. Phinya offered to help, while Bua raised her hands to rub her eyes, making a sleepy sound. Phinya gently lifted Bua's blouse and took it off, placing it on the chair. Then, she lifted her fingers to brush a few strands of hair from her face and placed her glasses on her nose. Her thin lips gently touched her forehead, which made a soft murmuring sound. Phinya gently pulled away a moment later. Are you tired? Bua replied in her usual way. I'm more sleepy than tired. I know, you're always sleepy. Lately, someone has been making me sleep less. So tonight, I'll just hug you to sleep. Who said I want to hug you? Bua asked in a sleepy voice. Are you sleepy and still want to start a fight? If you want to hug me, just say so. I never wanted to just hug you, Bualoi. I want to do much more than that. After saying that, she let herself fall, leaning her forehead on the shoulder that supported her. Phinya. Bua's voice sounded against her shoulder. Huh? Thank you. Although she seemed a little confused because of sleep, Bua said clearly. No matter what your role here is, I really want you to know that I'm grateful. This made Phinya wrap both arms around her. No matter what role you give me, I accept it, Bua. Phinya said. Come on, let's go to the bedroom. We'll talk about this tomorrow. Bua. Finya's voice made Bua turn her head. Fong joined them in the hallway, heading towards the workroom on the 3rd floor. Bua was reading research papers on the morphological structure of the tail and limbs of tailless monkeys, while holding a gorilla skull that seemed to be showing its teeth. What are you doing, friend? New toy? Fong commented when she saw what Bua was holding. Did it just arrive? Yes, Bua confirmed. I'm teaching a class on it this afternoon, so it'll be good to have it here. The students are watching. What's wrong with you? Why did you come with Phinya today? The question made Bua stop abruptly and turned her face to look at her friend behind her square glasses, her expression a little pale. The sleepiness she felt before disappeared in an instant. Who came with Phinya? She retorted, trying to keep her expression neutral. I'm the one asking you. Why are you asking me back? Fong said. I saw you get out of Finya's car in the parking lot. Fong had seen her, even though she had tried to be discreet. You might have seen her wrong. That idiot might be with someone. Bua. And why couldn't I be with Phinya? This question made Fong narrow her eyes at what Bua retorted. I think you two have been acting strangely, like you are suddenly close and looking at each other differently. Looking differently? The doctor asked back. In what way? Explain to me, please. I notice Phinya has been looking at you. That idiot might just be staring at me because she's looking for a femur to beat me up with. Bua defended herself in a low voice. I don't think that's it. Fong hurried to say. Her gaze seems more like she wants to devour you. Devour my head? Devour doesn't exactly mean eating the head or the food. Fong explained. It's more like taking a bite. Didn't you get enough sleep last night, or haven't you slept yet? After saying that, Bua made a gesture of taking off her glasses and offering them to Fong. You're getting old. You spend all day reading ATCG DNA sequences, and now your eyesight is getting weak. Here, borrow these. And you have a sharp tongue. Fong said, pushing Bua's hand that's holding the glasses away. I'm the same age as you, and you're already wearing glasses. Fong continued to look at her suspiciously. Is there something you're not telling me? What do you mean by that? That you're coming to work together. You're thinking too much. Phinya just saw me coming here and gave me a ride. Bua's tone of voice became slightly high-pitched, revealing her agitation. She wasn't ready for anyone to know about her relationship with Phinya yet, as she wasn't sure what she thought of her. It would be hard to say that she wasn't confused about the situation. In fact, she still wasn't sure where all this was going. If she declared herself too much, she didn't know how this would end. But if it were the old Phinya, she would have stepped over her foot, the future doctor said, as if she already knew everything. Since when did you two become so close? Who's close to whom? Fong. The subject shouted behind them. Then Phinya approached. The money to send the samples to the lab in Japan has already been approved by the professor. I'll send the documentation by email. Finally. It's taking a while because Dunk hasn't shown up. It's going to take a month until I can send them and wait for the results. Fong exclaimed happily, looking at the two colleagues alternately. So, you two aren't having anything with each other, right? Is there something wrong? Finya's voice expressed confusion upon hearing the previous question. What do you mean? It's nothing. Bua replied, with a higher and more suspicious tone of voice. If I said there isn't, then there isn't. Then she reiterated. Today, Dr. Phinya was nice and gave me a ride. If in this life I can see you two getting along, even if I don't have children, I can die peacefully. Fong said, placing her hand on her chest, showing relief. Who? Bua asked, looking at the vice principal who was still there, trying to understand the conversation. No, we're not getting along. Anyway, I'm going now. I need to review the gorilla skull before class. With that, she quickly left the room. What's going on? Now it's Phinya who asked Fong. I told Bua that I saw you two together when I arrived. Did you see? Fong nodded. Yeah, I saw it in the parking lot in front of the building. So? Phinya asked. I just wanted to know if you guys have anything you haven't told me. And what did Bua say? She said there's nothing. So there's nothing. So, what's going on between you two? Fong asked again. If you're getting along, then great. That way I don't have to feel uncomfortable in front of you anymore, because I don't know which side to take when you start fighting. I'm tired of having to separate you two. And weren't you on her side from the beginning? Phinya asked. Anyway, I always end up being the villain. Before, yes. Fong admitted easily. But now you're my boss, so it gets complicated. And another thing, Phinya. Fong lowered her voice to a whisper. Haven't you ever noticed that when you're with Bua, you act differently? Different how? Even though I graduated later than you, I've seen a lot of life. Fong said, smiling proudly at herself. And I've known you for years. Before, when we went to the countryside, we ate and slept together. Then she reached out and touched Phinya's shoulder. If it's nothing illegal, I assure you that I'm a good friend. If you need help, just let me know. Can we continue this conversation in my office? It's not very convenient here. Fong just nodded and followed Phinya up to the 5th floor. I want your opinion on something. The owner of the office sat down on the chair and gestured for Fong to sit down. How do I start talking? You like Bua, don't you? However, it's Fong who got straight to the point. Is it that obvious? This made Phinya exclaim loudly, with an expression of disbelief. You devour her with your eyes practically every day. You two don't get along, but I see you together all the time. I see her following you around. You're not going to attack her, are you? Fong asked. The problem is, I don't know what Bua thinks. I have no idea. Phinya replied. I noticed. She changes the subject so quickly when I caught her in the act. The future doctor commented. But that's understandable. Let me tell you, friend, that woman will never open her mouth to say anything unless she's sure. Fong commented, knowing Bua well, more than anyone else in her class. Besides being excellent at sleeping, she's more stubborn than anyone I know. This made Phinya nod, letting out a sigh of concern, before Fong continued. And it's you, Phinya, the person she's always competed with. Bua always thought you were better than her. Who would have thought that someone like that would want something serious? Trust me, even if you tell her this directly, if she's not ready to believe it, she simply won't believe it. I know that things started to go wrong between me and Bua. Phinya said with a tone that showed her insecurity and a slight nervousness. You were competing to see who was the favorite, everyone knows that. Phinya nodded when she heard that. It's a common thing among nerds. I don't know what to do. And where have you guys gotten to? Fong asked in a neutral tone, but Phinya just looked at her before biting her lips, not knowing how to answer that question without exposing Bua. It seems like you've gone too far. Fong said, knowing the truth, before seeing Phinya nod slightly. And how much time do you spend together? Well, it must be more than before. Fong replied ambiguously. Fong nodded thoughtfully. Since you came back, I've seen you two together a lot, compared to before, when you worked at desks separated, and when there was an argument, you were like boxers waiting to get back into the ring. But now, even though you're on different floors, I almost always see you together and never far from each other. In the lab, in the workroom, in the meeting room, you keep looking at each other, especially you, Phinya. Why are you noticing this so much? If I wasn't noticing, I wouldn't know. Fong replied. But I feel like Bua is closer to me than before, but when I start talking about it, she changes the subject and doesn't talk to me. If it were before, when I tried to provoke her, she would stand on the other side of the room and stare at me, answering me right away. Phinya let out a long, heavy sigh. If she gave me a shovel and hit me right in the face, I would feel better than when she pretends she doesn't know anything, as if she's pushing me away. Her face showed sadness as she said these words. I don't know what to do. Do you intend to take this seriously? I don't dare think too far, because I'm afraid the final choice won't be mine. Finya's voice became low, almost like a whisper. What do you think I should do? If you want to develop the relationship, I say you have to take risks and show your commitment. Fong suggested. Take care, give support and... She stopped to think. I don't know if you've thought this far, but if one day that happens, love a lot. Love? Yes. Fong confirmed. Understand, trust, and most importantly, accept, especially regarding her abilities, because she always thought she's inferior to you in that aspect. This made Phinya look at Fong. I already accept that. The vice principal said. Even back then, I never doubted her abilities. That's why I was afraid she would stand out more than me. So you've been looking for trouble with her all the time? That's more or less it. Phinya agreed. So, don't just talk about it and show her. You need to remember that you didn't start out knowing each other like normal people, or as friends, but as if one was holding a hoe and the other a shovel, ready to attack and provoke each other, competing to be the star of the field. In this, between you and Bua, everything started with distrust and fear from the beginning, especially for those who think they are inferior. Bua has always thought that way. She may even think you're being nice to her because you're waiting for the opportunity to attack her behind her back, as if you were just going to make her feel good and then leave her behind. Do you understand that? That's it. Phinya exclaimed. Bua always says that I'm just a spoiled girl, and that when I stop being spoiled, she thinks I'll leave, because she suspects that one day I'll leave her. This girl is sleeping so much, she's going crazy. Fong nodded. If she's not looking for a place to sleep, she spends the whole day memorizing theories like a crazy person. I really have a headache because of you too. Before you were almost killing each other and now you're eating each other. Why did you come here? To swim and die on the beach? Fong complained in a low voice. I already suspected. I saw you two looking at each other several times. And did you see? When I asked her directly, she still dodged, didn't want to admit it and just beat me up. Don't tell Bua that I'm talking about this with you. Why not? Are you afraid of her or something? Fong asked back. You're in love, right? I can tell when you look at her. The previous words left Finya's face red. Phinya. Phinya, this is what we call karma. You tied a knot with Bua and now you can't untie it. So be careful. Don't tie it any tighter and take the solution of this knot seriously. This is the price you have to pay for what you've done to her. So try hard, be honest, and give her time to gain her trust. Phinya nodded attentively as she listened, until Fong continued. And seriously, as a friend, are you thinking of getting revenge on her, Phinya? I admit that in the past I may have acted very badly. Finya's voice was full of sincerity. But now it's not like that anymore, and I feel bad every time I think about the things I've done to hurt her. If you feel guilty, have you apologized to her? Apologies? Phinya repeated the word, frowning. Yes, apologize for everything that's happened so far. Apologize to show that you are no longer the Phinya you used to be. Apologize to show that you are willing. Don't forget that you had Bua investigated by the faculty. You know that accusations of plagiarism or copying work are a serious violation of ethics and are unacceptable in academia, especially at our university. The punishment is severe because, if she were found guilty, she could even be expelled. It's already great that she can still at least look at you. Fong explained. By apologizing, you are acknowledging, no matter what she is like, and understanding that her feelings are more important than yours. Do you understand that? I think I can understand, thank you very much, Fong. Phinya replied. Now that she thought about it, she had never apologized to Bua even once. So, why did you come back to mess with her of all places? You traveled to so many places. The question made Phinya let out a soft laugh. Wasn't there any woman who pleased you out there? I don't know, I didn't like it. The doctor said, shrugging her shoulders. My English isn't that good. And you end up liking the girl who only sleeps, don't you? The professor will scream with joy. You two are her favorites, I'll tell you that. Fong said enthusiastically. If you need anything, just let me know. Don't disappoint me or the professor. You're exaggerating. The teacher takes care of all the students. It's normal for the teacher to have favorite students to continue the work. And the teacher chose the right people. I myself don't know if, when I finish, I'll continue down this path. Sometimes, I feel like I've had enough because I've been doing this for a long time and I want to do other things. Don't abandon me, okay? The bioanthropology course is the best there is. New students will soon appear to replace me. Fong said as she stood up. So, don't forget to send me the approval document for my budget, Dr. Phinya. I need to get something to eat. Today I'm going to have a long day, between lab and progress report. Okay, thank you very much, Fong. Hang in there, okay? If she gets too tangled up with you, you'll find a way to resolve it soon. I'm rooting for you too. It really had to be this way. I still want to see the day when you two are ready to tell the professor. Just imagining her face makes me laugh. Chapter 24. Chapter 24. Phinya entered the Physical Anthropology laboratory room inside the research building and saw the head of the laboratory standing in front of a platform with a mummified skull, made of latex rubber and molded in a clean white, while Bua did not turn to look at the visitor. In the center of the skull's forehead, there was a white pin with the number 8 written on it, stuck in a single place. This area was known as the glabella point, which is the most prominent point on the face where the line between the eyebrows meets the vertical line in the middle of the face. She needed to mark all of these points, at least 16 in total, to determine the depth of the tissues and muscles before beginning the impression. The reference points Bua was marking were known as osteometric markers, which are used to define the thickness and depth of the muscles and tissues in each bone. Just like the skull, the other bones in the body, such as the bones of the arms, legs, or any other bone, also have these markers as reference points. Each bone acts as a support and attachment point for muscles, as well as tendon tissue, which has visible marks on bones that have been properly cleaned. When an unknown skull is found, facial reconstruction becomes necessary. These landmarks must be used to determine the placement of the different muscle groups, in order to ensure that the reconstruction is ethnically accurate and that the resulting face is as realistic as possible. Particularly in cases where a face may be needed to identify the criminal, each landmark on the face varies between different ethnicities. Next to the skull platform was a tray of modeling clay. Have you started yet? Phinya asked from behind, before Bua turned and nodded. It will take a few weeks. I want to do it gradually. I don't want it to affect the work time, because we already have a 2D cast anyway. Otherwise, it will just be double the work. For now, I will focus on the deeper muscles, Bua explained. Do you have something in mind? I had something to discuss, but I can wait another hour until the end of the workday. I'd rather just watch you model. No, I don't want anyone watching. It makes me nervous. Bua replied, as she pressed the tablet she had in her hands. Soon, the image of her facial muscles appeared on the screen of the monitor mounted above. "You can talk. Can I just watch in silence?" The question made Bua raise an eyebrow before she used the back of her hand to adjust her glasses absently. "It's just that I like watching you work." Then Phinya jumped up to sit on top of the waist-high storage shelf behind her. "We've been working at the same desk for 3 years, Phinya." "That's right," the vice principal confirmed. "It's strange that I've never seen how fascinating you are." The compliment, said in a deep tone, made Bua's heart race, and she felt a sudden heat on her face. "Maybe I just took a while to realize it. Then I won't do anything else. I'll just tidy up and call it a day." Bua pretended, changing the subject as if she was afraid Phinya would say something she wasn't ready to hear or respond to yet. "With the boss here watching, I can't think of anything. But this is your lab. Here, you're the boss. Do you want to take on the role of lab chief too? Are you interested? Don't put that responsibility on me." "Who's throwing responsibility at you?" "It's not me." "What else do you have that you haven't thrown at me yet, Bua?" Phinya asked, as she jumped down from the bookshelf and supported herself, putting her hands in her pants pockets. "Ever since you became the boss here, you promised to help with the projects and publications, and now you still want me to take on the role of lab chief? You need to make up for the time you were away. I couldn't sleep because of it. Besides, now you're messing up my sleep again. In order for me to work, I need something in return." Phinya replied. "Besides, you didn't come down to help identify the victims of the plane crash, you know? You were hired just to act like a hottie at work, weren't you? Didn't you know that you're the boss here? You're an expert in physical anthropology. The job of identifying victims is yours." Phinya replied quickly. "When the accident happened, the professor called me just to help." Those words made Bua frown. "Wait a minute," Bua exclaimed, surprised. "So the professor knew you were coming back?" "Yes." "I don't understand," Buasaya's soft voice said. "Did the professor always know where you were?" "I got in touch about a year after I went to England. To apologize and to help raise funds here to make up things to us." "Why didn't the teacher ever say that?" "She must have thought you didn't like me very much, that's why she didn't say anything." "So you decided to tell me everything when you invited me to be a researcher? It was a surprise to celebrate my graduation, right? Wow, no pressure. You didn't say anything about the accident either. And I should talk to your shovel, is that it?" Phinya joked. "You didn't even want to look at my face. You said you only came to help on that specific occasion." "Yes. At first, I really only came to help because I didn't want to upset the professor." She then met Bua's gaze. "But I'm glad I made that decision." A subtle smile appeared on her face. "I thank you too, because if it weren't for you, I would be screwed. See? So I'm not here just to look pretty at the institute. After all, just by standing still, I'm already beautiful. If you think so, then sleep well and have sweet dreams," the lab chief said, waving her hands. "Pack your things and wait for me in the office. As soon as I finish cleaning the instruments, I'll call you and you can come down to help." "Okay. Have any old things or antique items arrived here lately, the unofficial kind?" Phinya asked on a quiet evening, after dinner at Bua's apartment, as she leaned on the long sofa next to the room's owner, who was preparing her classes for the next 2 days. "What kind of unofficial things?" "Like the ones the institute hasn't registered yet." "Is there anything the teacher asked for help with?" "Nothing special. I just asked them to register when things arrive here. We have the Homo habilis skeleton from Kenya that should arrive within 2 weeks and a replica of a monkey's skull that is being made. I don't know when that will arrive, we've been waiting for almost 6 months." "Is it the real Homo habilis?" Finya's voice sounded a little surprised, and her eyes widened. Bua nodded and took a sip of water. He comes from the University of Nairobi. We have a partnership. The professor has a friend there. I heard that next year they will start sending students to observe Southeast Asian culture, but they haven't sent anything yet. And what do you have now that hasn't been registered yet? There's a Neanderthal skeleton. I'm waiting for the number to put in the display case. Why are you asking? Bua narrowed her eyes, looking suspiciously. What are you planning? Don't you want to know about the mummy? But the answer was just a question. And does that have anything to do with these things? I want to lend it to sell. Lend it to sell? What does that have to do with the mummy you mentioned? You don't trust me? Are you trustworthy? Bua's direct question made Phinya hesitate, remembering the conversation she had with Phong the day before. Phinya couldn't deny this truth. And the situation wasn't anyone's fault. As she told Phong, the beginning between her and Bua had always been turbulent. Ever since they met as doctoral students more than 5 years ago, until this moment, the relationship between the two could be called a rather peculiar beginning. She had never imagined that the story between them would take such an unexpected turn. More than that, the feelings she had for Bua were also complicated. Who could have predicted that one day she would fall in love with someone who had always been her rival, the same person who stood out as the professor's favorite, the one with whom she competed to be the star of the field, who exchanged victories and defeats in research and seminars without giving in an inch. Although they had never fought seriously enough to break off relations, they often attacked each other with words, throwing tools at each other, and exchanging barbs that were intended to make the other feel defeated. Even though the beginning of their relationship was strange, their last encounter was even more chaotic, ending in a bed and without clothes. She knew that there was something more than friendship between her and Bua, but nothing beyond that, except for the feelings she carried. Phinya didn't know what Bua thought about what had happened between them, and perhaps she didn't want to know. For her, the fact that Bua hadn't rejected her was enough. She herself was beginning to realize that the person who had once fought to win Bua over had now become extremely modest about their relationship. If Bua still didn't trust her, as Phong had suggested, it was inevitable. Phinya had caused a lot of hurt, especially by making Bua face an ethics investigation for allegations of plagiarism and appropriation of research. If the paper were published, this investigation could prevent the publication. In addition, the fact that she would be suspended from the course and late in submitting her work for the completion of her doctorate was a big risk. If the dean considered the situation critical, Bua might not become the Dr. Buasaya she was today. Phinya's actions were coming back to haunt her, and Bua still felt distrustful and paranoid. She didn't know how to solve the most difficult equation in her relationship with Bua. Maybe time would be the best answer. Time would prove that she was no longer the Phinya obsessed with beating Bua, but rather a Phinya willing to give in, if only Bua asked her to. She was trying to show that, and she hoped, from the bottom of her heart, that Bua would notice. I didn't mean to say that. Bua's soft voice said hesitantly. Even if she said she wasn't thinking of anything other than friendship at that moment, it would be a lie. She didn't want to hurt Phinya's feelings with words that the two of them used to use against each other before. I mean, Bua. The name left her lips with palpable seriousness, making Bua look into Phinya's eyes. Listen to me. Phinya's left hand rose to hold the other side of her face, while her thumbs gently touched below Bua's eyes. I'm sorry for everything that happened. I also need to apologize for feeling this way. Bua replied, trying to look away by lowering her head, but she was interrupted by Phinya's hand that held her face. It's my fault for not trusting you, and yet acting like this with you, leading to all this. It feels like I'm manipulating you, Phinya. You don't need to worry about whether you're manipulating me or not. And you should also give yourself time to understand, okay? Phinya's words were soft and reassuring, and the small smile on her lips made Bua's heart race. I'll wait until you're ready to decide. I don't want you to wait. Because I don't know when this feeling will go away. If you ever want to go, Phinya, you can leave here at any time. Feeling distrustful towards me is your thing, but staying here is my choice. I'll decide that on my own. Phinya. I'm serious, so stop trying to find me a woman. Finya's voice was firm. Because I don't care about that. I'm sorry, Phinya. Tears started to slide down Bua's face, but quickly wiped away by Finya's fingers, who seemed to be waiting for this moment. I didn't want to feel like I couldn't trust you. I've done a lot for you, so I understand. Then, Finya's thumb gently descended on the thin lips that she knew so well, followed by a kiss. Bua let herself fall on the couch, surrendering to the feelings she had. Although she knew that she had already thought of the person in front of her as something more than a friend for a long time, perhaps since that first night, a certain distrust still lingered in her heart. It was a feeling generated by old memories between her and Phinya, making Bua feel uncomfortable holding her back. Or even if she did love her, it was a form of love that wasn't entirely happy or fulfilled. She needed to eliminate those feelings first, needed to erase the distrust before sharing her own feelings. Whenever Phinya tried to broach the subject, Bua would usually deflect, hoping that Phinya would get tired and go away on her own. Sometimes, it was hard to believe that someone like Phinya would be interested in someone as insecure as her, who had always felt inferior compared to someone so capable. If I wanted to borrow the Neanderthal, would you? The teasing request whispered in her ear made Bua laugh until she cried, but she didn't wait for an answer before kissing Phinya again. Ask your mom to lend it to you. I can't authorize it, because it's not up to me. Before Bua could finish speaking, Phinya leaned over and kissed her chin. What are you thinking of doing? I just want to know if, besides the victims of the plane crash, there are more people involved in this. If we wait for the police to act, I'm afraid it will take too long. So, maybe we need to do something. After all, the information we found involves both businessmen and antiquities traffickers. We can investigate if these people have anything to tell us. In fact, if they are relics related to ancient Egypt, I think that might make it easier to attract their interest. But is that a good idea, Phinya? I'm trying to think of the best strategy. If we think about the worst-case scenario, looking at that skull we found, if there was someone who was hurt or, even worse, used to. I don't even want to think about it. Bua interrupted, before Finya's lips pressed against hers again, a few times, softly. Phinya then sat down. But we can't deny that it's a possibility. Doing something like that to a corpse is illegal, anyway. It's complicated because to do a mummification you need a body that has recently died. That's why I don't want to leave this question open for too long. I think there's something that could be useful if you borrow it. But you'll have to ask the teacher. Bua suggested. Where did you get it from? The archaeological anthropology specialist asked. The scarab isn't easy to find. It must have been something someone sent as a souvenir when this place was founded, said the head of the laboratory. It's very beautiful. The scarab was an insect with a shape similar to a beetle, used in various amulets. The Egyptians believed that it was related to the sun god, god Ra. They are always seen in Egyptian paintings and can also be found in funeral texts, linked to rebirth. Sometimes, these scarabs can be found positioned in the heart, which is removed during the mummification process. It's just a suggestion, it doesn't mean I support this idea, Phinya, Bua added, knowing full well what she was thinking of doing. It's just a possibility. For now, let's wait and see if the police can identify that unknown man. If we know who he is, maybe we can get some information. Let's hope luck is on our side. I think so too. Don't act without thinking, or I'll report you to the professor. Bua said, narrowing her eyes. Are you 5 or something to still run off to tell mommy? No matter how old I am, I'll report you. I don't want to have a third mother. As you wish. Bua said, shrugging, but she had to let out a scream when Finya's arms pulled her closer. I want to have other things, she said, placing her lips on Bua's cheek. Hey. Bua. Huh? I'm not the Phinya you knew anymore. Those words made Bua look up and meet Phinya's eyes. I'll try to believe you, Phin. I want you to know that I'm trying to erase the bad feelings I have towards you. Phinya slowly rested her head on her shoulder and said, Then I'll wait for you. Chapter 25. Chapter 25. Look. Today Dr. Phinya arrived early at the laboratory. The mocking voice of the head of the laboratory of the Bioanthropology Research Institute rang out as she saw the vice director enter through the door, wearing a long white lab coat, which, as promised, would help identify the victims of the plane crash that had already occurred more than 2 months ago. So far, 9 victims had been identified. Why don't you go plant a banana tree, huh? She said playfully. As she passed by, Bua pretended to follow her suggestion and leaned forward as if she were going to turn upside down. Phinya, realizing the joke, quickly stretched out her legs so that Bua would trip, but then caught her before she fell. Bua, agile, managed to dodge it by jumping in time. Phinya. If I fall and hit my head, what would I do? Simple, don't fall on your head. Try falling on your mouth. Maybe that way you'll stop talking for a while. Phinya replied, before heading to the stainless steel bench, where several bones were still arranged. She looked around before picking up the humerus and starting her work. She measured the length of the bone to use in calculating the height, which would be compared with the victim's records. You can enter the numbers into the program, Buasaya said, who was facing a table where she was preparing a simulated skull for facial reconstruction. I've already entered the formula to calculate the height. Are these formulas accurate when calculating using a single bone? I haven't used them in a while. Phinya commented, as she watched Bua, leaning over, examining the skull and the tablet screen, where the points for facial reconstruction were displayed. The most recent studies have a smaller margin of error. Calculating height based on bones results in a difference of, at most, 8 centimeters, but I still think it's a large margin. I wish it were only 5 centimeters. Before, with a single bone, the margin of error was 10 to 12 centimeters. Now, they've narrowed it a bit. The good thing is that there are more studies with Asian samples. But the accuracy varies between men and women. For Asian women, the most accurate calculation is the humerus, and for men, the tibia is the most accurate. Thank goodness there are only a few victims left to identify. Bua nodded and then took small white pins, the size of a phalanx, measured them, and with a scalpel cut them to the desired size. With a black permanent ink pen, she wrote the letter H and positioned the pin in the center of the eye socket, on the line that demarcated the nose. The next bone Phinya took was the left scapula of one of the victims, completely clean, since the larvae had consumed all the tissue. A hole near the center of the bone caught her attention. Waloy, have you looked at this batch yet? Not yet, I was waiting for you. Bua replied, turning to meet Phinya's steady gaze. This batch was cleaned by the larvae yesterday. I asked Aeon to remove it from the chamber and give it a final cleaning, but I haven't checked it yet. Then come and see this. Phinya called, waving for Bua to come closer. I'm sure there was some kind of aggression before the plane crashed. And I think we can confirm that the mark on the rib bone is what I was thinking, even though we didn't find the weapon. Gunshot. Bua said immediately, understanding what Phinya was talking about. She narrowed her eyes and examined closely the small hole in the bone Phinya was holding, clearly visible. If something was strong enough to pierce the scapula and make a round hole like that, I can't think of anything else. It's possible that a firearm was used up there. Let's calculate the height now. I want to know who this bone belongs to. That statement made the vice principal move quickly. Phinya measured the bone again to be sure before entering all the numbers into the computer. After pressing enter, within a few seconds the height of the victim, owner of that bone, appeared on the screen. 181 centimeters, with a margin of error of up to 8 centimeters. This means that the height varies between 173 and 189 centimeters. Bua explained, as she went to get the file with the victim's data. She quickly leafed through the dossier, examining the information. We have two possible candidates. One is a male passenger, 45 years old, 177 centimeters tall. The other is the main pilot, 183 centimeters tall, and he was 33 years old. Let's put the bone through an X-ray to see if the bone plates have closed or deteriorated. That way we can calculate the age and get a better idea of who it is. Now we can start to understand what happened. There was a shootout before the plane crash. Phinya added. The pilot may have been injured or the aircraft may have suffered damage that caused it to lose control. We need the police to investigate who had a gun and how they managed to get it on board. But these bullet holes don't tell us the caliber, so it's hard to confirm without the gun at the crash site. At the meeting there was no report that weapons were found either. Bua said. But if we found 2 bullet holes like that, we can conclude that it was a shooting. I'll ask one more time to be sure. This flight is getting scarier and scarier. Phinya commented thoughtfully. And everything seems extremely suspicious. Have you talked to the teacher about the beetle? Not yet. Phinya replied briefly. I'm still deciding what to do. I don't agree, just to be clear. Bua said quickly, worried. For me, it's too dangerous to take that risk. Do you remember what happened when we found those people at the crash site? I'm afraid the risk isn't worth it. I understand. Phinya replied. Give me some time to think of another solution. Bua just nodded, relieved. What do we know so far? The plane crashed possibly due to a fight on board, with gunshot wounds on 2 bones, one of which may be the pilot's. We have the mummified skull, made from an unidentified male skull. Bua summarized. And this mummy was created for a specific purpose and taken on the plane to be transported to Paris. I'm waiting for information from a friend to find out if there was an event in Paris at that time. Phinya added, before returning to focus on the work in front of her. If no new work came up for Bua, the bodies of the victims of the plane crash would be sent to the police so that those responsible for the cases could continue their investigations, and soon, they would be returning home. However, there was one person whose identity Bua prayed the police would be able to uncover, the unknown man who owned the face recreated from that skull. Buasaya stared at the mummified skull that she herself had reconstructed. A feeling of sadness invaded her, difficult to explain. In her mind, a question echoed. Who would be capable of doing something like that to another human being? Has humanity reached such a low point? When human life is assigned a monetary value, and even corpses are traded, instead of being left to rest in peace for all eternity. Buasaya sighed deeply, exhausted, as she realized that there were strange people out there, willing to turn corpses into mummies. She didn't even want to imagine where they had brought those bodies from. She placed another white pin, marked M, at the lowest point of the mandible, known in the field of facial reconstruction as the menton. She breathed heavily, feeling uneasy, as she concentrated on adjusting the reference points to ensure that the facial recreation was as accurate and complete as possible. At the very least, this would be one last service for the deceased. Phinya's cell phone rang, catching Bua's attention. She saw her frown as she stared at the phone screen for a moment. There was an antiques exhibition in Paris around the same time as the plane crash, Phinya said thoughtfully. I'm not really surprised. Bua moved closer. Is something wrong? My friend sent me information that there was an antiques exhibition at that time. It was an exhibition. It was a private event, for invited guests only. But of course there were a lot of millionaires showing off their collections. Phinya commented authoritatively. The guests were all VIPs. Have you ever been to any of these events? Yes, once or twice. Some people wanted to introduce me to the world of the black market, so they invited me to be an expert. She replied. These events are like a gathering of children showing off their toys. And, of course, that's not all. In addition to the exhibition, there are exchanges, sales, or auctions. Money flows freely there. And did they manage to hook you? Buasaya asked jokingly, until Phinya looked at her directly. What do you think? Phinya asked back, narrowing her eyes. She knew that Bua still maintained a certain level of distrust towards her, and rightly so, considering what had happened between them in the past. Phinya didn't blame anyone but herself. I don't know, that's why I asked. I'm a person who doesn't let money buy me. She paused to take a breath. Unless it's a good amount. I knew it. Bua exclaimed. I imagine it. Hey. Phinya answered seriously this time. If I was interested in money, I wouldn't have come back here, Waloy. Do you know how much they offered me to get involved in this? The commission for each piece sold? Some pieces were worth more than this entire building. Then why did you come back? Buasaya asked without thinking much. However, Phinya didn't answer right away. She just stared at Bua, with an unreadable expression. I hope, Bua, that one day you will find the answer to that question within yourself. Because even if I told you, you wouldn't believe me. I already told you that you can leave if you want, didn't I? Bua's calm voice broke the silence that followed for a few moments. Phinya was quite certain that Bua had understood the meaning of her previous words. I want you to go to a place where you can be happy, without depending on the happiness of another person or something external. Bua looked directly into Finya's eyes, noticing the hesitation in them. I won't give up. Phinya suddenly declared firmly. I will show you that I am no longer the same Phinya as before. If I leave now, it would be like admitting defeat. You still see this as a competition. Feelings are not a matter of competition or comparison, Phinya. There are no winners or losers in this. Of course there are. I am proof of that myself. If it were the old Phinya, I would have given up a long time ago. True. And before I left, I would have made a scene, as always. She laughed lightly. You've changed, I know. You've changed a lot. You're more skilled, more mature, you think more before you act. You don't freak out like before. This made Phinya lift her chin a little, proud. You better not end up falling in love with this new Phinya. She teased. You can keep dreaming. Bua replied, joking. What do you think we should do now? Wait for the police and see what they find out. Phinya suggested. About the gun or the unknown man. It will probably be like that. Bua nodded. In the meantime, we will continue with our work. Part 5 end to be continued. Thank you for spending your time with us. New videos every day at 9 p.m. Don't forget to like and subscribe for the newest videos. See ya.